Hello, beautiful soul. Random, not so random thoughts in this moment. I'm reading Principles of Communism, Frederick Engels' Principles of Communism. And this section that I'm on right now is kind of going into how we entered into this kind of capitalistic society, and just like as I'm reading it and taking it in, it's just, the picture just kind of opens up more and more, right? And, I've seen like different videos and thing of people talking about, you're not depressed, you're not anxious, you're just living in this within capitalism. You're living within this reality that kind of conditions people to feel like they always need to be rushed and moving, and we always need more, right? We need to consume more, we need to take more in, right? We need to work more, work harder, work faster so that we can get more things, because one day we're gonna die, and we don't want to die before we've done or had or experienced all these things, right? And the thing is that we end up working ourselves to the point of burnout where we're not even able to enjoy these things that we think we're working so hard for. You look at when factory style working and the machines and those industries started to come in, and how it reduced the need or the relevance of smaller like handicraft kind of, the clothing industry, and textiles, and how they were able to put things out at a faster rate, more of it. And it's like, once you have the ability to create more and you're doing this and you have more faster, then you have to find something to do with it, right? But what are you going to do with it? People were never using more at that rate before. They were used to being patient and taking care of things, and just going at that natural organic pace that the body is meant to go at, right? And now we have these industries that are creating more. There is we see that these products are worth something. People will pay money for them, but what if we had more of those products to give these people? But these people never said they wanted more. Okay, well, we need to make them think that they need more, right? We need to tell them that they need more. We need to advertise it to them. We need to demonstrate the need for more, right? And over time, they condition us to believe that we really need more, right? When in reality, less is so much more, right? When we allow ourselves to pause, take our time, and then you look at, I don't know, like as I'm reading, it's just, I highly recommend looking into it. The way that I process information and take it in, I'm not able to always, kind of feed that back or give that back. All I can really do is express the feelings that are coming through me based on it. I can't give like the facts and the figures, and I can simply express what is coming through for me based on that information that I am taking in, right? And I really highly recommend that you allow yourself to to read, to educate yourself, right? It's so important that we understand the history of how we got where we are, right? It's so important that we understand the history of the systems that we're existing within, right? And how they operate, how they're allowed to operate, and how we participate in that, right? How you participate in that, how I participate in that, right? Looking at the phone that I am holding in my hand right now and thinking of how the materials used within it are gained, right? So we play a part in all of it, right? And all of that we're seeing right now, everything that we're seeing right now, when you look at the history of capitalism, of colonialism, right? How these systems are created, it really paints a clearer picture of where we are now. Like, it makes sense, right? So it's so important that we allow ourselves to educate ourselves, right? We can't continue to push the blame or push the responsibility to someone else, right? I think what has been demonstrated is that the people in power, right, the ruling class, have never had an intention of being here and serving the people, being here for or serving the people, right? That's never been their intention. Their intention has been to uphold this capitalistic society, right? It has been to uphold the interests of the elite, right? The top 1%, the ones that have the bankroll to control the things that are happening within our governments, right? So it's important that we educate ourselves and that we take responsibility in moving forward within all of it, right? Recognizing that we can't rely on them to fix the things that are happening, as they are the ones responsible for it, right? They have created this situation. And yes, you know, they created it, they should be the ones to fix it. They're not, right? Of course, maybe they should be. Yes, they should take some responsibility in that, and they should work towards fixing it. But I think they have demonstrated that that's not something that's going to happen, right? So it's important that we recognize the responsibility that we play within this, right? What can we do to make a difference? And it starts with educating ourselves, right? With learning how we got here, right? Recognizing the steps it took to get here, so that we can recognize the steps that they are taking to get to somewhere that we don't want to be, right? So it's important that we're able to look out for these things, to be able to identify these things, so that we can see it before it actually takes place, so that we can stop it, right? And we stop it, by recognizing the power that we have within it, right? There are more of us than there are of them. And it's because we believe that we're separate. It's because we believe that we're divided, right? They have created that divide, right? They have made us feel as though we are each other's enemies. That is what they want. They don't want you to sit and listen to what the other side has to say. They don't want you to sit across from a person that you disagree with and have a conversation. They don't want that, right? Because if we do sit down and have those real conversations, allowing ourselves to be open to listening to the pain of the other side, right? Regardless of the harm that they might be causing, if we're not able to be open to that, and this is not saying that that is going to be an easy process, right? It's just something that on some levels we have to be open to, right? We have to realize who our real enemies are, and Hunger Games has been one theme that has come up throughout the entirety of this, with the Met Gala and that display in the face of the atrocities that are taking place around the world, in the face of the mass starvations and displacements that are taking place. Within the Hunger Games, you have the districts, right? And those districts are separated and put against each other, quite literally, within that event, right? The Hunger Games, right? Put against each other in a situation that forces them to be enemies, right? To uphold what I forget what it's called, but to uphold the interests of those in power, those with money, right? Those who are struggling, those who are suffering, they continue to suffer and their belts continue to tighten, right? It's a song, one of Kabaka's songs, I think with Buju Banton. Yeah, and there's a part in it, the 1% that owns the wealth, they'll keep it all to themselves while the sufferers have to tighten their belts, right? So as the rich are getting richer, right? We look at COVID and what happened with COVID. So many people suffering physically, emotionally, financially, and those at the top gained from our suffering, right? Look at right now with the war, with the genocide that's taking place, right? With people suffering, starving, right? Across the globe, right? All of that happening, and those in power are gaining, right? Because war, genocide is apparently profitable, right? But at the cost of people, right? So it's important. There is one thing in Hunger Games, I think it was in the second one, and before she goes in, he says to her, remember who the enemy really is, or something like that, right? Remember who the true enemy is. We have been taught that our enemies are those on the other side that disagree with us, right? But all of that is conditioning, right? Our true enemies are the ruling class, and I don't even want to say people, because it's the system that has created those people in power, right? Plagued also by mental illness, right? You think of psychopathy, sociopathy, right? Narcissism. Those are all mental health issues, right? Those are all signs of trauma, right? So it's these systems. The system is the enemy, right? And the way that it keeps us in that loop, perpetuating it, right? And it's important that we educate ourselves on how that happens, and also educate ourselves on the psychology of it, right? Because I think a lot of us don't want to believe that we could have been manipulated. We don't want to believe that, we are also one of the ones that were conditioned, right? We want to feel as though, yes, my thoughts are my own. I think for myself, Educate yourself. Open your mind and your perspective, right? Widen the scope. Allow yourself to truly see, Yeah. And as you're educating yourself and widening your own perspectives, share that, right? And it doesn't have to be publicly, but share it with a friend. Open up a conversation with a family member, right? Yeah. Whew. All right. In this moment, I am complete. It's hot. Sending so much love.